What would you do if you discovered the dying man you married out of pity was the most dangerous lie you'd ever lived with? Evelyn Jason thought she knew exactly what her future held: a loveless marriage to a wheelchair-bound billionaire, a debt paid in full, and a lifetime of quiet sacrifice. But one midnight discovery shattered everything she believed. The man she pitied could walk. The weakness was a mask. And the enemies circling their perfect prison of a mansion were closer than she ever imagined. Tonight, you're about to witness the moment an arranged marriage becomes a deadly game of secrets, where love and survival collide in ways that will leave you breathless. If you're ready for a story that will grip you from the first word to the last, stay with us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning of a twisted love story you won't want to miss. The night everything changed. Some secrets are kept in vaults, others behind locked doors, but the most dangerous ones hide in plain sight, wrapped in wheelchairs and whispered sympathies. Evelyn's hand trembled against the cold marble wall as she watched her husband rise from his wheelchair like a ghost shedding its chains. The moonlight streaming through the floor-to-ceiling windows cast silver shadows across Dion's face, and in that moment, he looked nothing like the frail, broken man she had married 3 months ago. His movements were fluid, controlled, powerful. Every step he took across the private study shattered another piece of the reality she had carefully constructed in her mind. Her heart hammered so violently she was certain he would hear it, even from across the room. She pressed herself deeper into the darkened corridor, her silk nightgown whispering against her skin as she held her breath. This couldn't be real. It couldn't be. She had spent 93 days watching him struggle to lift a glass of water, had rushed to his side when he grimaced in pain, had felt genuine sorrow for the man fate had crippled so cruelly. And now he was walking. Not limping. Not struggling. Walking with the confident stride of a man who had never known weakness. Dion moved to the bookshelf on the far wall, and Evelyn's eyes widened as she watched him press something hidden among the leather-bound volumes. A soft click echoed through the silence, and a section of the wall swung inward, revealing a hidden room that glowed with the cold blue light of multiple computer screens. Evelyn's mind raced. She should leave. She should run back to her bedroom and pretend she had never left it, never followed the sound of movement that had woken her, never ventured into this forbidden wing of the mansion. But her feet refused to move, rooted to the spot by a mixture of terror and fascination. She watched as Dion entered the secret room, his silhouette framed by the technological glow. From her vantage point, she could see walls lined with weapons, sleek handguns mounted in glass cases, tactical gear hanging like dark art installations. Multiple monitors displayed what looked like surveillance footage from various locations, some she recognized as rooms within the mansion itself. Status report. Dion's voice cut through the silence, and Evelyn flinched. He was speaking to someone, but she couldn't see anyone else in the room. Then she noticed the small earpiece glinting in his ear. The Hong Kong situation is contained, he continued, his tone clipped and authoritative, nothing like the soft, pained whispers she was accustomed to. Move the assets to Singapore. I want eyes on the Nakamura family's movements. If they so much as breathe in our direction, I want to know about it. Our direction. The words sent ice through Evelyn's veins. What had she married into? Who is this man? And the wedding investigation? Dion's voice hardened. Someone leaked our location. I want to know who, and I want to know by morning. No exceptions. No mercy. Evelyn's hand flew to her mouth, stifling the gasp that threatened to escape. The wedding. Their small, intimate ceremony in Malibu that was supposed to be private, secret even. She remembered Duyun's insistence on limited guests, his team's obsessive security measures that she had attributed to his wealth and vulnerability. Now those precautions took on a sinister new meaning. The wife suspects nothing, Duyun said, and Evelyn's blood ran cold. She's exactly where we need her to be. Visible, sympathetic, perfect cover. The bastards watching us see exactly what I want them to see, a dying man and his dutiful bride. The words hit her like physical blows. Cover. That's all she was. That's all she had ever been. Not a wife, not even a contractual obligation with human dignity. Just a prop in whatever deadly game he was playing. Tears burned behind her eyes, but Evelyn blinked them back furiously. She wouldn't cry. Not now. Not when her entire world was crumbling around her, and she needed every ounce of composure to figure out what to do next. She took a careful step backward, then another, her eyes never leaving the illuminated doorway where her husband, this stranger, stood conducting his mysterious business. Her bare foot found the edge of a Persian rug, and she shifted her weight, preparing to retreat to the safety of her bedroom. The floorboard beneath the rug creaked. The sound was barely audible, a whisper of wood against wood, but in the crushing silence of the mansion at night, it might as well have been a gunshot. Dion's head snapped toward the doorway. His eyes, sharp and alert, scanned the darkness where Evelyn stood frozen. For 3 agonizing heartbeats, she couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't do anything but stare back at him like a deer caught in headlights. Then survival instinct kicked in. Evelyn ran. She didn't think about the noise, didn't care about maintaining the pretense of sleep. Her feet flew across the marble floors, her nightgown billowing behind her as she raced through the darkened corridors. Behind her, she heard the sharp sound of footsteps, not the halting shuffle of a crippled man, but the determined pursuit of someone very capable of catching her. Evelyn! Dion's voice rang out. Authoritative and commanding. Stop. She didn't stop. She couldn't. Her mind was a whirlwind of betrayal and fear and questions that had no answers. What else had he lied about? What danger had she walked into when she signed that contract? And most terrifying of all, what would he do now that she knew? She burst through the door of her bedroom suite and slammed it behind her, fumbling for the lock with shaking hands. The heavy bolt slid home just as she heard his footsteps reach her door. Evelyn. His voice was calmer now, measured. The door handle turned, testing the lock. Open the door. We need to talk. Stay away from me. Her voice came out shrill, panicked. She backed away from the door, her eyes darting around the room for anything she could use as a weapon. The antique letter opener on her writing desk. The heavy crystal vase on the dresser. Pathetic defenses against a man who clearly had an entire arsenal at his disposal. I'm not going to hurt you, Dion said through the door. His voice carried a note of something that might have been regret. Or maybe she was just desperate enough to imagine it. I know you're scared. I know what you must be thinking. But I need you to listen to me. You lied to me. The words exploded from her, all the fear and betrayal crystallizing into rage. Everything, all of it was a lie. You're not sick, you're not dying, her voice broke. What are you? Silence stretched between them, heavy and oppressive. Evelyn pressed her back against the far wall, as far from the door as she could get, and waited. Her entire body trembled, adrenaline coursing through her veins like liquid fire. You're right, Dion finally said, and the quiet admission was somehow more terrifying than any threat could have been. I lied. About the wheelchair. About my condition. About a lot of things. But not about everything, Evelyn. Not about the most important things. How am I supposed to believe anything you say? She wiped angrily at the tears that had finally broken free, hating herself for the weakness. You've been playing me from the beginning. I thought, she choked on the words. I actually started to care about you. I felt sorry for you. God, I'm so stupid. You're not stupid. His voice was firm, almost angry. You're kind. Compassionate. Human. Those aren't weaknesses, Evelyn. They're exactly why he stopped abruptly. Why you what? She demanded. Why you chose me? Why you needed the perfect cover story? Tell me, Dion, or whoever you really are, why me? Why my family? What did we do to deserve being dragged into your twisted game? Another pause. Then, your father saved my life. Evelyn froze, her breath catching in her throat. What? 15 years ago, in Seoul. I was 22, stupid, thought I was invincible. I got caught in the crossfire of something I shouldn't have been anywhere near. Your father was there on business. He pulled me out of the street, took a bullet meant for me. Did you know that? She shook her head, then realized he couldn't see her. No, he never talked about his time in Korea. Because I asked him not to. Because even then, I understood that the less people knew about me, the safer they were. He spent 2 days in a Korean hospital before flying home. I paid his medical bills anonymously, kept tabs on your family from a distance. Made sure you were safe. Safe? Evelyn's laugh was bitter. You call this safe? Lying to me, using me as some kind of human shield. Yes. The word came out sharp, almost desperate. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing, because the alternative is you dead, Evelyn. Your mother dead. Your brother dead. Everyone you love, gone, because of their connection to me. The raw intensity in his voice made her pause. She moved closer to the door, one hand hovering near the lock. What are you talking about? 6 months ago, I learned that the people who killed my family were moving again. They've spent 20 years building their empire, thinking I was dead or broken or irrelevant. But I've been building too. Waiting. Planning. And when I made my first move against them, they started looking for leverage. They found the connection to your father. Found you. Evelyn's hand fell away from the lock. The debt, she whispered. My mother's medical bills, they came out of nowhere. The hospital said there was a billing error that we owed. Nothing was an error, Duyun confirmed grimly. They manufactured the debt. Bought it, inflated it, made it impossible to pay. They were going to use it to control you, to get to me through you. So I had to move first. The marriage contract. The marriage contract, he agreed. I know how it sounds. I know you have every right to hate me. But Evelyn, I swear to you, I did it to protect you. Marrying me, being publicly tied to me, it made you valuable alive. Untouchable. They can't hurt you without exposing themselves, without breaking the rules of engagement that keep this war contained. Evelyn sank onto the edge of her bed, her legs suddenly unable to support her weight. This is insane. I'm not a soldier. I'm not trained for this. I'm just a girl from California who wanted to save her family. I know. His voice was softer now, almost gentle. And I'm sorry. I'm sorry you got dragged into this. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you the truth from the beginning. But I need you to understand something. The wheelchair, the weakness, all of it, it's bait. I need them to think I'm vulnerable, broken, not worth their immediate attention. It buys me time to dismantle their organization piece by piece. And having you here, caring for me, being seen as the devoted wife to a dying man, it's the perfect cover. And what happens when they figure out the truth? Evelyn demanded. When they realize you're not dying, not helpless. What happens to me then? They won't. Not until it's too late. Not until I've destroyed every last one of them and you're safe. How can you guarantee that? I can't. The admission was quiet, honest. But I can promise you that I will do everything in my power to keep you alive. That's not a lie, Evelyn. That's the only truth that matters. She stared at the door, her mind racing through everything he'd said, trying to separate truth from manipulation. Her instincts screamed at her to run, to call the police, to do anything except trust this man who had already proven he was capable of elaborate deception. But another part of her, the part that had spent 3 months watching him, learning his habits, seeing the moments when his guard slipped and genuine emotion flickered across his face, that part whispered that maybe, just maybe, he was telling the truth now. I want to see your face, she said finally. I want you to tell me all of this again, without a door between us, where I can look you in the eye and decide for myself if you're lying. All right. She heard movement, the sound of him stepping back. I'm going to my study. When you're ready, come find me. Take all the time you need. But Evelyn, please don't try to leave the mansion. There are security measures in place that would alert my team, and right now I need everyone to think everything is normal. I'm a prisoner. You're protected. There's a difference. Is there? But she was talking to silence. His footsteps had already retreated down the hallway. Evelyn sat in her darkened bedroom for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. Her mind kept circling back to the same impossible questions. Could she trust him? Should she trust him? What choice did she even have? Finally, she stood. She grabbed a robe from her closet, wrapped it tightly around herself like armor, and opened her door. The mansion was silent as she made her way back through the corridors she had fled down so frantically. This time, she walked slowly, deliberately, giving herself time to absorb every detail of her surroundings with new eyes. How many of the staff were actually security? How many of the elegant decorations hid cameras or weapons? What other secrets lurked behind the polished facade of this coastal prison? The study door was open, light spilling into the hallway. Diyun sat in his wheelchair, the bitter irony of which wasn't lost on her, facing the doorway as if he'd been waiting. As if he'd known she would come. "Thank you," he said simply as she entered. Evelyn didn't respond. She closed the door behind her and leaned against it, maintaining distance, maintaining control. "Tell me everything. From the beginning. And don't you dare lie to me again." Diyun's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "My name is Kang Diyun. 20 years ago, my family was one of the most powerful business dynasties in South Korea. We weren't just wealthy, we controlled information networks, security infrastructure, international trade routes. My father built an empire, but he also made enemies. The people trying to kill you. Yes, a coalition of rivals who called themselves the Circle. They spent years planning their attack, finding weaknesses, buying loyalty. When they struck hard. My parents, my older brother, my sister, all killed in what was ruled a series of tragic accidents over the course of 6 months. Except they weren't accidents. And you. I survived because I was supposed to die last. They wanted me to watch my family destroyed first. Wanted me to feel helpless, broken. They staged a car accident that should have killed me. Instead, it left me with injuries that took years to recover from. Real injuries, he added, catching her skeptical look. I wasn't lying about that part. I spent 18 months in rehabilitation, learning to walk again. But you did walk again. Yes. And when I could finally stand on my own 2 feet, I made a choice. I could let the world know I had survived, rebuilt, healed. Or I could let them think the accident had succeeded in destroying me, even if it hadn't killed me. So I became the tragic heir, the broken son of a broken dynasty. Confined to a wheelchair, pitted, dismissed. Why? Evelyn asked. If you're as powerful as you claim, why hide it? Because power is most effective when your enemies underestimate you. For 20 years, I've been rebuilding my family's empire in the shadows. Creating new networks, gathering intelligence, positioning assets. All while the Circle believed I was too damaged, too lost in grief and pain to be a threat. And it worked, Evelyn. I've taken down 12 of their key members without them ever suspecting it was me. Until recently. What changed? I got careless. Made a move that was too big to ignore. They started asking questions, digging into my affairs. That's when they found the connection to your father. Found you. Evelyn pushed away from the door, pacing across the room as she tried to process it all. So you married me to protect me. And to maintain your cover. Yes. And you've been lying to me every single day since. About the wheelchair, yes. About my capabilities, yes. But not about everything. He leaned forward, and despite herself, despite everything, Evelyn felt her heart skip at the intensity in his eyes. I never lied about finding you remarkable. About respecting your strength. About, he stopped, seemed to reconsider his words. About caring what happens to you. You don't know me well enough to care. Don't I? He smiled, but there was no humor in it. I know you sing old jazz standards when you think no one can hear you. I know you call your brother every Tuesday and Thursday, that you always ask about his classes before talking about yourself. I know you hide medical journals under your bed because you wanted to be a doctor before your family's finances made it impossible. I know you're afraid of thunderstorms, but you'll stand outside in them anyway because you refuse to let fear control you. Evelyn stared at him, feeling exposed in a way that had nothing to do with her nightgown or the vulnerability of this moment. You've been watching me. I've been paying attention. There's a difference. Evelyn, I'm not asking you to love me. I'm not even asking you to forgive me. I'm asking you to survive this with me. To help me maintain the illusion a little while longer until I can neutralize the threats against us both. And then what? When it's over, if we survive, what happens to us? Then you'll be free to go. I'll honor the contract terms, make sure your family is taken care of, and you can walk away from all of this. From me. No questions asked. The offer should have brought relief. Instead, it left a hollow ache in her chest that she didn't want to examine too closely. What if I say no? What if I want out now? Diyun's expression hardened. Then you'll sign a non-disclosure agreement that will legally bind you to silence about everything you've seen and heard. You'll be escorted to a safe house under protective custody until the situation is resolved. And you'll never see me again. That's it? I just walk away. Yes. She searched his face for any sign of deception, any hint that this was another manipulation. But all she saw was exhaustion and something that looked dangerously like honesty. I need time, she said finally. To think. To process all of this. Take all the time you need. But Evelyn, he wheeled his chair slightly closer, and she fought the urge to step back. Whatever you decide, please be careful. The staff you see during the day, they're loyal to me. But there's someone in this house who isn't. Someone who's been feeding information to the circle. Until I find out who, trust no one. Not the housekeeper, not the chef, not the security guards. No one but me. Why should I trust you? Because I'm the only one telling you the truth now. And because if I wanted to hurt you, I've had countless opportunities. You're alive, Evelyn. That means something. She wanted to argue, wanted to poke holes in his logic, but exhaustion was crashing over her like a wave. I'm going back to my room. Of course. But one more thing. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device that looked like a key fob. Keep this with you. If you're ever in immediate danger, press the button. My team will be there in seconds. Evelyn took the device, its weight substantial in her palm. Your team. The ones who've been watching me this whole time. The ones who've been keeping you alive this whole time, he corrected gently. She turned to leave, then paused at the doorway. The night of our wedding, when you looked at me during the ceremony, was any of that real? Diyun was quiet for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was low, almost vulnerable. More than it should have been. Evelyn didn't know what to do with that answer, so she left it hanging in the air between them and walked out. Back in her room, she locked the door again and sank onto her bed, the panic button clutched in her hand. Her mind was a chaotic mess of information and emotion, fear and strange, unwanted sympathy. She should hate him. She did hate him for the lies and manipulation and for dragging her into his war. But she also remembered the moments over the past 3 months when she'd caught glimpses of something genuine beneath the performance. The way he listened when she talked about her family, really listened, like her words mattered. The rare smiles that seemed to surprise him as much as they surprised her. The night she'd found him staring out at the ocean with such profound loneliness in his eyes that she'd felt it echo in her own chest. Had any of that been real? Or was she just desperate to believe that some part of their relationship wasn't built on lies? Her phone buzzed on the nightstand, and she grabbed it instinctively. A text from her mother. Hope you're doing well, sweetheart. Your brother got an A on his biochemistry exam. We're so proud. Miss you. The normalcy of it felt surreal. Her family had no idea that their debts had been manufactured, that their daughter had been married off as a strategic move in a shadow war, that every day she spent in this mansion was a calculated risk. And maybe that was for the best. Maybe ignorance really was bliss. Evelyn typed back a quick response full of congratulations and love, then set her phone aside. She looked down at the panic button in her hand, this tiny piece of technology that represented Diyun's promise of protection. His promise that she mattered, at least enough to keep alive. Tomorrow, she would decide what to do. Tomorrow, she would figure out if she could live with being a pawn in someone else's game, even if that someone claimed to care about her survival. But tonight, she was just tired. Tired of questions without answers, tired of fear and uncertainty, tired of not knowing who or what to believe. She placed the panic button on her nightstand, within easy reach, and lay back on her bed. Outside her window, the Pacific Ocean rolled endlessly against the shore, indifferent to human dramas and deadly games. She listened to the rhythm of the waves and tried to find peace in their constancy. Sleep came eventually, restless and full of dreams where wheelchairs transformed into thrones and silver-tongued liars spoke words that sounded dangerously like truth. When she woke the next morning, everything would change again. The game would continue, with higher stakes and deadlier players. But for now, in the fragile space between midnight and dawn, Evelyn allowed herself to simply exist in the uncertainty. Because sometimes that was all you could do when your entire world had been revealed as an illusion, and the only person offering you truth was the man who'd been lying to you all along. If you made it this far, you've witnessed just the beginning of Evelyn and Do-yoon's twisted journey together. The question isn't whether she can trust him, it's whether she can survive long enough to find out the truth. Hit that subscribe button right now so you don't miss what happens next, because this story is about to get even more dangerous. Drop a comment below telling us what you would do in Evelyn's position, run or stay. And smash that like button if you're already hooked. The real game is just beginning, and you won't want to miss a single moment.